I recently made an offer on a $1.4 million house, and I got it. I made a post yesterday here on YouTube, a community post. I want to go over it quick. And the post reads, forget about Rossman Realty. I'm going to take you behind the scenes on what it takes to buy a $1.4 million house in California. I was able to knock $150,000 off, which is unheard of in this current market with low home inventory. I'm working on closing the deal and will take you through the process and share the progress as it happens. And let's read some of the comments. First one, starting with David. Everything you're blessed with is well deserved. John, really happy for you, Alex. A lot of positive comments. You really deserve it. I'm so happy with how your life is doing. And then, inshallah, brother. Prit, that's great. And then we have Chick Tack. Oh, snap. That is amazing, Alex. Northridge millionaire. I'm really happy for you. You deserve it. I remember when 150,000 was enough to buy a home. That's great. When's the housewarming party? Good luck. I guess the business really is doing good. Wish you all the best. I appreciate it. Awesome. Congratulations. With 1.4 million, you can get 30 good apartments in Argentina and then live better than a king, like a landlord. And if we sort by newest first, like people's mental health these days need to be reminded of that which they will never have. I think the person is referring to the fact that some people cannot even find ends meet, and I'm buying a $1.4 million house, which is a very valid point, and I will go over this in a second. So as you can see, a lot of positive comments. Only one comment I deleted. Anytime you have a comment that crosses the line, or I find it offensive, or I find there's hate speech in it, or I find it racist, I delete and block the user. So I deleted and blocked one user only. And I thank each and every one of you for leaving such great comments. To start with, I referenced Rossman Realty in the post. Rossman, as in Louis Rossman, he's in the same field I'm in. And at one point in time, he went over real estate in New York, commercial real estate. And I just found it, I just wanted to pick on him. And I said, forget about Rossman Realty, and I'll take you behind the scenes of realty in California. One person in the comments said, is there any beef between Louis Rossman and myself? No, there isn't. I just wanted to pick on him. So let me get this out of the way. And then I have a few notes here. I wrote a few notes that I want to go over. So I want to comment on that mental health comment that we read. I think the person is referencing that a lot of people cannot even find food to eat, and I'm buying such an expensive house. First of all, 1.4 million in California is not considered expensive. You can barely buy a house for 1.4 million here in California. If you are in some other country, maybe 1.4 million is a lot, but in California, it does not buy you much. I did buy a nice house. I'll go over it, but I just wanted to go over this comment. Maybe I should go back a bit. I do not want to go back to my childhood or where I studied or, how my life was like. Maybe I'll start with the time that I started this business. When I started this business, I had $11,000 in my bank account, and I made that money from being a web developer. I was a web developer before I started this business. jQuery, JavaScript, PHP, MySQL, HTML. I was a web developer. And you can find my profile on Stack Overflow. At one point in time, I was living on Stack Overflow every single day, every single day, every single day. I started the business, and then I could not do both, and I still do web development, but for this business, for myself, and not for others. So I had $11,000 in the bank. I started the business on the second floor, an office on the second floor. My apartment rent was, at that time, $1,350 a month, and the store rent was about $1,200 a month. But the store, it was not even a store. It was an office on the second floor without a sign outside. Nobody knew I had an office on the top. Nobody knew I fixed computers. So the only way to get people in was to advertise on Google, which these days you cannot do anymore. You cannot advertise your repair business, but back then I was able to advertise the business, and I got people in the door by advertising on Google. I was paying about $3,000 a month for Google. Anytime somebody clicks on the ad, I end up paying like $2 a click. That person may come to the office or he may not come. I still pay that $2. So it was costing me, I had a limit I had a budget of $3,000 a month. So $3,000 a month for ads, $1,350 for my apartment rent, and then you have $1,200 rent for the office. How much is that? $1,500, and so about $4,500 to $5,000 a month just for rent and ads. I had $11,000 in the bank. So if 2 months went by and I did not make any money, I would be out of business before I even started business. But luckily, I started to get people in the office, and sometimes people would call me, "Where's the office? I cannot find it." The person is right in the plaza and he cannot find the office. I used to go down on the stairs and tell the person that we are right there on the second floor. So that's how difficult it was to find the office. That's how bad that location was. But it was $1,200. The store I'm in now, you're talking about maybe $6,000 plus. It's a lot of money, but it's in a major intersection, and I love this location. Anyway, the first month we started to get people in. I was making ends meet. It was a very scary journey because being in business is very difficult. When I posted a video about hiring people, a lot of people in the comments mentioned that if somebody has your skills, they will start their own business. They do not know what goes on when starting a business. They do not know that if you do not do good in the first month, the second month, the third month, you're already out of business before you even started business. Expenses accumulate. If you do not have enough money in the bank, then you're going to run out of money and it's going to be a loss rather than a gain. A lot of people do not start a business because it's a lot of responsibility. And I'm telling you this, if I did not get any customers the first month or the second month, then maybe I would have been out of business. People came into the office and I was making money, but not enough money. I was making money to put food on the table and support my family, but nothing major. From 2014 to 2017, I was living as a normal person, an average person who was making a limited amount of income, and I was able to support my family. I started the YouTube channel in 2017. Let me show you the chart quick. Let me go over the chart so you know where I'm coming from. I was not born rich. I never had money. People expect to do nothing and earn the money. It doesn't work like that. Let me go over the chart quick. I'll share it with you. So from 2017 all the way to about 2020, the channel was dead. 3 years, the channel was absolutely dead. Subscribers were increasing by a single digit, okay? Up to 2020. I made most of my subscribers and most of the money basically in the last year and a half. Maybe started from 2020, but not by much. You can tell it went up right here, and then it went back down, and then up, down, and right now I'm here. So basically 2020 to 2022. Before that, the channel was dead. YouTube played a big role in the success of the business. I started e-commerce in 2018, 2019, and it flourished in 2020. Flourished. I'm talking about right now we're doing about 80 to 90 orders a day. A lot of work, a lot of dedication. I work about 20 hours a day. A lot of people tell me you're still up posting a video at 4 o'clock in the morning. I sleep at 4. I wake up at around 9 o'clock. I leave the store sometimes at 8 o'clock. I spend little time with family, and it's something, I have the guilt of spending little time with the family, but I have a goal in my head. I'm still driving a 2003 Toyota Camry. I do not feel the need to go buy a Lamborghini to drive it to work. I can if I want to. I'm 5 minutes away from the shop. A lot of times I walk, or if it's too hot or raining, I drive. I do not like to show off. If I want to go buy a Ferrari or Lamborghini or Mercedes or BMW, I can do it. I can buy it and no problem. But I have a goal in my head. I have 3 kids, a 12-year-old girl, a 6-year-old girl, and a 3-year-old boy. 12, 6, and 3, half and half. I do not know how that happened, but every one of the kids is half the age of the other kid. And if it comes to me, I do not really care about living in a house. I want the house for the kids. I want the kids to enjoy themselves. Right now I'm living in an apartment, a box, 4 walls. The apartment is decent in size. It's not too small. The rooms are big, but still, it's an apartment. I'm living in a box. I've been living in a box for the past, all my life actually. all my life I've been living in the box. I had a goal, and the goal is to save as much money as I can so I can buy a house for the kids to enjoy, a house with a swimming pool, a house with a backyard, a house with a space for kids to maybe ride an electric car or a bicycle or a scooter or rollerblades, or they can play ball, or they can do whatever. I'm doing this for my kids, and I'm not doing it for myself. I do not mind if I stay in an apartment for 100 years. This life is temporary. We're not living here forever. Whatever we do in this life, we're gonna leave it behind, and then all the good deeds that we've done in this life, we will see it in the hereafter, considering you believe in God. A lot of people ask me, what religion are you? I'm a Muslim. In Islam, we have something called zakat and something called sadaqah. Zakat is an obligation on every Muslim to pay every year an amount equal to 2.5% of whatever money that person has. So this year, at one specific date in the year, I calculate how much money do I have. I have $100,000. I need to take out 2.5% and pay it to the poor. And when I say poor, I say really poor people who needs it. So every year, how much money do I have? And not only how much money do I have in dollars, but what's the inventory I have in the store? I have to calculate whatever I have in the store. I have $200,000 worth of inventory in the store. I have to calculate that as part of the zakat. So money as in cash money, inventory as the stuff that I have in the store. If I have gold or silver, I have to calculate that in the zakat. So how much is the total? I need to take out 2.5% and pay to the poor. And that's an obligation on every Muslim to pay. And that's what I do every year. And then you have something called sadaqah, which is a charity. If I'm walking in the street and I see a homeless person, I can take $20 out, I can give it to him. That's considered a charity, which I also do. If I'm a type of person who want to take and does not want to give, I'm a selfish person. Life is all about give and take. I always mention that in my videos. You give and you take. If you only take and you do not give, you're not going to feel that happiness. If I'm going to buy an expensive car or an expensive house, deep down I'm feeling guilty, but I work hard. And when I see the fruits of my hard work and the hours and hours and hours I spent working here, and then I find myself buying a house like I did now, and while I take care of my zakat and of my sadaqah, I give charity, I give the poor, deep down inside, I do not feel the guilt anymore because I'm doing what I have to do, I'm giving, and in the meantime, I'm working hard to buy the property that I bought, the one I'm talking about now. If a person came and told me, here are the keys to this property, take it, it's free, I'm not going to feel any excitement, I'm not going to feel happy, and I'll most likely say no, I do not want it. But when I work hard for something, I have a goal, and I achieve that goal, I feel happiness inside, just like when I'm fixing a device. I feel happy every time I fix a device and that device works, I feel happy. I worked hard, I made money, and I bought a house. Whether it's 1.4 million or 10 million or 100 million, I do not care. I made that money with hard work. I was not born with a golden spoon in my mouth. I was not born with a rich family. I was not born with money I inherited from parents or whatever. I worked hard for that money. And like I said, I took you back to when I started the business. I had $11,000 in the bank. So I just wanted to get this off before I go over the process of buying a house. Let me take you over to a website called Zillow.com. It's a real estate website with home listings. If you live outside the US, you may or may not know about Zillow.com. Redfin is the same. And it's a website that looks like this. I just typed in a zip code 91326, and that's where I bought the house. And I just want to go over the prices. If you look here, price of the house is 1,349, so that's 1.3 million. The size of the house is 2,400 square feet. And the lot size is 8,000 square feet, which is nothing. Because about maybe 4,000 square feet is used on front of the house and the lot, which is not really usable. And then you have the other 4,000 back of the house. So the house is really not that big of a house. Maybe 2,400 is considered big, but not that big. And the lot size is considered decent. You can convert it to square meters and see how much that is if you are in an international country. But let's take a look at the house. If you look at the backyard here, it's on a slope. It's not really usable. You have that small piece of land that's on a slope. And the price is $1.3 million. A few years ago, when you would say $1 million, you would think, wow, Beverly Hills, $1 million. Now, $1.3 million will get you a house that looks like this. Okay? Let's go inside. Decent. I do not know when that house was built, but you would think a $1.3 million house would look a lot better. It's a decent house, a lot better than living in an apartment building, or a lot better than many homes, but still, it's a very plain, average house. I mean, that's the whole house. That's the kitchen, probably the same size kitchen as an apartment building, or even smaller. There's nothing special about the house. Cabinets are not renovated, most likely. Stainless steel appliances. And that's the house. I went to a lot of homes like this, and the first thing I noticed when you enter the house, the smell of the aged wood. Bad smell. Nice, you have a little balcony, and your neighbor is right next door. You can wave to your neighbor. You would expect some privacy for $1.3 million, but you can just say hi to your neighbor, and make sure you do not go outside with your underwear. If you look at this house here, $1.2 million. Size of the house, 1,900, so it's even smaller than the first one. And the lot size is 9,000 square feet. Let's take a look. All that lot size in the front is not really usable. What's usable is what's private. So the back is really what's usable. Unless you want to use the front, then you can. That's the front for the car, the garage. Let's take a look inside. Rooms are decent, not too big, not too small. I mean, just imagine you have the couch and then you have the wall right next to the couch. So it's not a big room. And you're paying $1.2 million. Okay? Look at that dining room. You can barely fit chairs on the right or left. Very narrow. I mean, the kitchen may seem big for those who live in apartments with smaller kitchens, but just remember, you are paying $1.2 million to just get a kitchen like this. If two people are standing in that kitchen, they'll probably bump into each other. Nice island for that kitchen, two-seater. Okay, so decent. Okay, $1.2 million, but the house is small. The house is not that big. 1900. 1900 is nothing. 1900 is not that great. Let's look at something, maybe this one here, 1.49. That's a $1.4 million house. And the size of the house is 2,600 square feet. And what's the lot size? The lot size is 8,400. So it's not a big lot size. And most of the lot size is going to the front, where you can park your car or use this front space. Let's take a look. The house may look nice from the outside, but remember, 2,600 square feet is divided into 2 floors now. So you are getting smaller rooms on the first floor and smaller rooms on the second floor. Compared to buying a house that's 1 floor, the rooms will be bigger because all 2,600 square feet will be on 1 floor. But right here, the square footage is divided into 2 floors. So having a 2-floor house doesn't mean that you have a big house. It means you're going to have smaller rooms. And just as you enter from the front entrance, you see the stairs. It's nice. I mean, you would expect to see something nice in the house when you are paying $1.4 or $1.5 million for a house. Living room. Partial wood and partial paint. It's an old design. The wood is probably from the 1960s, 1970s, 1950s. And when you go into a house like this, usually you smell the wood. Like it's an old smell of the wood. And I do not like that smell. You can tell the wood is old. And look at the kitchen. The cabinet is blocking the view. It's not an open concept. So the kitchen is like its own separate room. Look at the dining area. I mean, come on. 1.5 million for this house. The tiles on the kitchen. That's 1960s. And I know it's 1960s because I've looked at a lot of homes. A lot of homes. And the crown moldings is old also. Let's take a look at the outside. I want to see the outdoors. Look at this room. 1960s or maybe 50s. Bathroom. Old. You need to renovate the bathroom. narrow room with the old style wooding on the wall. You're not buying a renovated house. You are buying an old house. Some people may like the Victorian feel of the house, but you need to do a lot of renovation, and renovations during this time, very expensive. Maybe a bathroom would cost you $17,000, $18,000 or maybe $20,000 to renovate, depends on the size. A kitchen, you're talking at least $100,000 to renovate a kitchen. If you want it granite, a decent looking kitchen, renovation is expensive. You want to buy something that's already renovated, and that's why I've been looking for so long for a house, for the perfect house. When I found it, I attacked. Hold your guns and then attack. And then fire, like they say. Look at that room. If you stretch, you're gonna touch both walls. And so on. I can go on and on and on. I've looked at every house in Northridge. I looked at every house in Porter Ranch, and I ended up buying in Porter Ranch. I looked at every house in Granada Hills, every house in Chatsworth. I mean, within 5 miles range of where I live right now. And let's take a look at the house that I put an offer on. Everything is absolutely renovated down to the bones, from marble tiles to the kitchen to the bedrooms to the living room. This is the formal room. It's not even the living room. And you have multiple seating areas in that room. 4 chairs and a table here. You have 4 chairs and a table next to the fireplace. You have a piano. Just imagine how big that piano is. And it's only taken 1 corner of the room with a lot of windows. The curtains, the moldings on the ceiling, the paint job. I mean, it's an absolutely amazing house. I fell in love with that house as soon as I came inside. The formal room opens up to the dining area, opens up to the huge kitchen that we have on the back. That's the seating area next to the fireplace. And then that's another seating area. And then you have the kitchen. Just look at that kitchen. Look at the renovations. Look at the distance between the island and the actual kitchen. And then you have the dining table here. And then the formal room in the front. I fell in love with the house. I absolutely fell in love with the house when I came inside. I mean, look at that living room. Look at the couches. These are full-size couches. They fit about 10 people, and the couches are only taking like 1 corner of that room. The room is big, huge. And under that carpet is actually a black tile. Just the same tile as you find in the kitchen. Just as in this tile here. But the person just put carpet on it, maybe to give it that cozy feel. I can choose to keep that carpet or just remove that carpet and keep it on the black tile. But everything about the house is renovated. Look at the hardwood floors in the bedroom. Wow. The paint job, the crown moldings, the light, the renovated bathrooms, the tile on the wall, the bathtub, the half bathroom. That's a half bathroom. It doesn't have a bathtub or shower. It's for guests. So it has a toilet and a sink and a table. And the house has a guest house outside in the backyard. So the kids can use this as a tree house or as a house to play in. And the person is using that house for mining, you can tell. Look at the mining rig here with the video cards. And he has like 1 leather couch here, 1 leather couch here. And the lights inside all wired. And then you can tell you have the AC unit inside that guest house. Like this. And then you have a huge lot. I'm talking about 18,000 square feet of lot. Back and front. A huge lot. Look at the trees. You feel like you are in a jungle. The entrance. I mean, I absolutely fell in love with the house. I looked at my wife and the kids and we said, that's the house. That's the house. How can we get that house? There's going to be a lot of offers on the house. A lot of people are looking at the house. How can we get that house? Usually, to get the house, you need to overbid. You need to put over 1.4 million in order to qualify to get the house. And of course, you have to show a lot of money in the bank. And of course, you have to be pre-approved to buy the house. I mean, it's a very difficult process in order to be picked to buy a house, especially in this market. There's a shortage on homes in California. I do not know other states, but I know in California it's very difficult to find a house. And if you did find a house, you're going to be fighting for that house along with 20, 30 other people. And the highest bidder who pre-qualified for the house is the person who's going to get that house. So I called my real estate agent and I told him I want to put an offer on that house. He said, do you want to put a full offer so you have a better chance of getting the house? I do not want to pay 1.4 million on the house. Honestly, my budget, I calculated all the expenses, and my budget is about 1.2, 1.3 if I want to push it. So I told the agent I want to put 1.2, just put an offer for 1.2. He said there's a little chance to buy the house if you want to put 1.2. You need to bump it up, maybe $50,000 less, $30,000 less than 1.4. But you are knocking off $200,000 on homes in this market where people are actually overbidding to get a house. I did a lot of calculations. I still have to take into consideration the expenses of the store here, along with everything else, clothes, food, the kids, going out. And I mean, you have to take all that into consideration. You do not want to just look at the house. And we were comfortable at around 1.2. We may be able to push it to 1.3. So I told the agent to just put 1.2 and see what happens. So he sent me the offer, I signed it, and he called after 2 hours and he said somebody else put the full offer and you're not gonna get that house. I knew it. I mean, I knew a house with those features, a house that's fully renovated, amazing kitchen, amazing open concept, 18,000 square feet of lot from the front and back, a pool, a guest house. I mean, what was I thinking? Of course, I'm not gonna get accepted for 1.2. Somebody took it for 1.4. So I was honestly disappointed. I wanted that house, and I told my wife maybe we should have offered the full price because we're not gonna get anything like this house in the future. I've looked at a lot of homes like I just showed you, and nothing comes close to this house. To be honest, my wife and I could not get over the fact that we lost this house. 1 week passed by. We looked at over 20 homes, hoping to find something similar to this house. And every time we look at the house, we end up comparing that house to this one. This one had a better kitchen. This one had an amazing open concept. This one had a huge lot. This one had the greenery, the trees. And we could not find ourselves liking any house in the market. Some homes were even 1.8 million, 1.7 millions, but nothing came close to this house here. And I told her we just have to forget about this house. Somebody got it. We cannot get it. Until I got that call from my agent. And I do not want to spoil the fun right now. It's already too late, 7 o'clock, 7:05. I need to get going, but I'm going to continue the story in the next video. And by the way, inspection is on Sunday. And inspector is coming to look at the house, make sure everything is good, the foundation, the pool, the plumbing, electrical, all that stuff. So I'll take you on a tour with me on Sunday to show you what's going on and what findings and what things we find wrong with the house. But that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave a comment if you have any questions, and we'll do something else in the next video.